Welcome guys. In this video, I will give you 10 tips and tricks that will help you to become a better player in PUBG Mobile. This video is all about FPP switch button and few advantages of it. First thing you should do is go to the settings and scroll down until you find first-person perspective camera view and change it to 103. If you don't know what it does, no worries, I will show you. So this is the 80-degree camera perspective, which is the lowest. If you change it to 103, the highest it can go, you will get some extra view. If you want to know exactly how much extra view you can get, this is 80 degrees, which is the lowest it can go. And now this is the 103 degree, which is the highest it can go. Once again, this is 80 degrees and this is 103 degrees. It's really a huge advantage if you use it properly. So when should you switch to FPP? It depends on your situation, and I will show you some examples when to switch FPP. In this example, I am rushing towards the opponent because I know the exact location of my enemy and he's hiding behind this cover. Switching to FPP in this type of situation will help you to focus on the enemy. Also, it gives you a much better view for aiming and crosshair placement. Once again, when your enemy is hiding behind some obstacles like this and you decided to rush, switching to FPP will give you some advantages. Here is a side-by-side comparison of TPP and FPP. So in the third-person perspective TPP, there is a possibility that your character might be blocking your view. And on first-person perspective FPP, most people say it's easier and satisfying to aim, and also you won't get blocked by your character in FPP, which is definitely an advantage. Moving on to the next example, whenever I find myself hiding in a corner or holding in a corner situation like this, I always switch to FPP because sometimes the character will block my view. Example like this. In these situations, using FPP is a good choice. Also, remember that FPP gives you a wider view, so you can watch two directions at the same time. So I highly recommend you to learn this skill, because finding yourself in a corner situation is very common, and by switching to FPP could increase your chances of winning in that fight. Moving on to the next tip, hip firing in FPP from a vehicle will give you some advantages. This is how the third-person perspective will look while hip firing from a moving vehicle. And this is the first-person perspective's view while hip firing from a vehicle. Once again, this is TPP, third-person view. And this is FPP, first-person view. If we do a side-by-side comparison, you will get these advantages in FPP. Better viewing angles, and most importantly, you will able to focus on the target much better, and just like previous examples, aiming will be easier and it's satisfying to shoot. So always remember this, whenever you find yourself in car fight situations and your opponent's vehicle is really close, just switch to FPP and hip fire, because in FPP you get much better viewing angles, which will help you to focus on the target. Anyway, moving on to the next tip, whenever you're jumping from high ground to low ground, switching to FPP will help you to get a better view. If you don't switch to FPP, then your character will most likely to block your view. Example like this. You may miss some of your shots, and this could get you killed in some situations. So do yourself a favor by remembering this. Moving to the next one, when you jump out from a window, your character will most likely block some of your viewing angles. Just like the previous tip, switching to FPP and jumping will solve this issue. Jumping out from a window is the most common thing, so do yourself a favor by switching to FPP every time you jump out. Later you will get used to doing this every time by muscle memory. Talking about windows, if you ever wanted to look out from the window to spot enemies, stand really close to the window and switch to FPP. Now you will have a wider view. This gives you same viewing angles as you would be standing outside, so now you can spot the enemies. Also, during window fight scenarios, using FPP will allow you to see something that you cannot see in TPP, especially when the enemy is hiding in corners of the window. Moving on to the next one, this is kinda like my opinion. I feel it's easier to throw grenades or other throwables in FPP while running with the best accuracy. I have seen a lot of players doing this, but let me know what you think. But I just think that throwing grenades while running in FPP is much easier and more accurate. In the third person, I feel like it's hard to track the window, maybe that's the reason. If you ever had to use pistols, switch to first-person view because it's more comfortable and easier to use a pistol in FPP. Also, it's very satisfying to use in FPP, but not just a pistol, all single-tap weapons like shotguns, snipers, DMRs are somehow easier to use in FPP. And lastly, go to your layout and place your FPP switch button where you can access it more easily and test if your fingers can reach to it comfortably. Anyway, that's all I got for this video. I hope you learned something new. If you did, hit the like button and subscribe for more upcoming videos like this. And see you guys in the next video.